remixes was just a part of my thing, of course, inspired by the earlier guys like Delano and the Black Chinese and those kind of people. When I sent a beat to Cartel, I guarantee you the next day I'm going to get a song. Triple Bounce. So Triple Bounce was out of this world now. The Bounty and Elephant Man. It was history at the time because Bounty and Elephant Man, they didn't do a song for years before this one. When you're a leader in the game, you drop it anytime and you probably can change the game. Because at the time when I dropped Mad Collab, the business wasn't there. And Cartel has always said that when him come out, there are certain people him not leave out. My name and TJ name was definitely on that list.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is Muscle, and this is another Two Line Music Hut's Entertainment Report podcast. And today, we have a really special guest in the building. Listen, this man has been blazing the airwaves since 2003. He's put out massive hits in dancehall and reggae, and right now you see him touring the globe with Vybz Kartel as his backup DJ. You know we have in the building today, we have ZJ Chrome in the building today. What's going on, big boss?
What's going on, man? I'm good. How are you?
I'm excellent. Thank you so very much for actually agreeing to sit down and have this talk with us today.
Yeah, anytime, yeah. Anytime.
Yeah, man, because I know you're an outspoken person, but you don't speak too much, if that makes sense.
That's 100% right. You know what I mean? When I speak, it has to make sense. You know what I mean? It has to be the complete truth. So, yeah.
Good to go. All right, ZJ Chrome now. What part of Jamaica ZJ Chrome grew up in?
Well, I started out, I was born in Spanish Town, at Spanish Town Hospital. Then I moved on to live in Clarendon with my parents. I did high school in Clarendon, Glenmere High School. Then I moved on to Mandeville, Manchester, actually, where I did university, and now Kingston. Yeah. It's all over the place.
Okay, I never really knew it was like Clarendon and all of that was involved. I know Kingston for sure, but I didn't know about everything else before that.
Yeah, for most Jamaicans, for most people from the outside looking in, they always just think Jamaica is Kingston. You know what I mean? But some people say it. You know what I mean? The biggest stars comes from country, and half of Kingston is country. Actually, they're originally from country.
No, for sure, 100% agree. So, all right. So, you growing up now? What type of child were you growing up, and what type of things were you into at that time there?
Yo, I was a guy who just. The typical Jamaican childhood. We play football in the streets. I play cricket when it's cricket season. With the basketball when it's basketball season. When I hit high school now, I started finding this love for music. I started to play music in the backyard, and then it's just a typical thing. We just have some fun. It was just for fun and games.
Mm-hmm. At that point there, and even growing up, did you want to be like a doctor, lawyer, thing, or what was your aspiration? Where did Chrome think he was gonna do?
I've said this a lot in private, but I'm one of the only, maybe a few persons who can say that I've had my dream. Since 13, I wanted to be a DJ. I just wanted to be on the radio. I was on the radio. Early, like we talked about that, I was on the radio probably like 6 years after that, or thereabouts. So, yeah, I've lived my dream. I am happy with my life. Everything turned out how I planned it.
How you found it? Okay, and even
of course it's bonus, but yeah, how I planned it.
High school now. What high school did you attend?
Glenmere High School.
Glenmere. And what type of person was Chrome like in high school?
Yo, I'm the same person now. I don't normally speak. I was a ladies guy, but street gallus in high school, I didn't have a whole bunch of friends, but me and the entire school was good. We were good with everybody still. And, I was about the books. I definitely was about the books. So we kept it that way. And the friends I had were pretty much the same. So, I just didn't talk much. I still don't talk much now, but yeah.
Okay, so it was about books and music was your thing from them.
Definitely, because I started doing music at 13. Yeah, it sounds a little young, but that's when I started out. And then I started to do the birthday parties at school until I started to do the sport day at school and all the fun days at school. I was one of the DJs on everything. Then it translated into clubs, sound systems, and yeah.
So even then, what got you into DJing? Who did you see DJing, or what did you hear to say, this is what I want to do? This
You know,
is me
like
right
I
here.
can't remember his name, but I remember I was watching BET one day, and I saw this guy doing whole heap of tricks on the turntable. I was like, yo, I'm spinning and I'm doing whole heap of stuff on him scratching. I was like, yo, how do you do that? And there's a turntable at my place, so I took up the turntable and I was just trying things, and it just, it just wasn't working. But I was very, very determined to figure out how to do it, and that's how I started in music. Pretty soon, I fell in love with, music itself. Yes, of course, we used to listen to songs and we used to love music, but I had this extra love for music, and I started to have a different appreciation when I go somewhere and hear music, because I used to hate reggae music. I used to I didn't want to hear reggae music, the older stuff. I didn't want to hear none of that stuff.
What?
And then playing at bars, on a song called Liquor Wicked at the time, and then doing weddings, doing anything, and then I just fell in love with music, and just being at these events at that time helped me to learn the music. So I started to have a little appreciation for reggae. The guys from the 80s, I started to appreciate them wholly more, and just love songs in general from the weddings, and then just seeing people move to them and dance to them made me start to appreciate them more. And here I am now.
For sure. So it was more or less like you liked more new music, anything new, or was it dancehall, hip hop? What were you listening to?
For sure, I was a typical young DJ. Only like what I like, the new stuff, and that's it. Never care about anything else. At that time, yes, we had the hip hops. We had of course, the dancehall at that time as well. And I was just more interested in the hip hop and the dancehall. And you had in those days we call it techno, but growing up now I know it's not technically techno, but it's electronic music. And I used to love that, as well. And reggae was just one of those things. I'm like, can't take this, You understand? It was just too slow. It was just,
Yeah.
it was just not young people music,
Yeah.
as some people would say.
So you started DJing from when you were in Mandeville, or you started to DJ when you got?
But this started in 13, so this is in high school. So I would have been in Clarendon at this time. So I started at this time, and as I mentioned, I did everybody who's having a birthday party, I'm the one DJing there. And then how Mandeville came into the picture actually was that they were having this teen jam, a fun day kind of vibe, and it was at a club though, and I did the teen jam. It was on a Saturday in the day. I played there, and the club owner was very pleased with how we played. It was me and there's this other guy that used to MC for me. Kirk is his name, and he was like, "Yo, you guys are so good. Can you guys just stay the night and DJ?" No, I was on the edge at this time, but we looked at each other and we were like, "Okay, might as well do it because we're here. It's like 6 o'clock now. The club starts at 9 o'clock. Let's just stay." We did it, and then after playing that night, the guy's like, "Yo, can you guys come back tomorrow?" And we're like, well, we had some turntables and thing at the time, so we're like, we have to drop off the turntables, or we can come back. He said, "Sure, no problem." We dropped off the turntables. We came back the other day, and then we played. Then on that night, he's like, "Yo, can you guys just work for me?"
Just like that.
And that's how the Mandeville came in.
And what club was that you guys were playing in?
I don't remember the name, but it was at Manchester Shopping Centre. It was a club right there. I think was it Y21? I don't remember, but it was right there.
Right there. And what was your DJ name back then?
It was just DJ Sean. It was my first name. I didn't have anything. It was just my DJ Sean. That's it.
DJ Sean. And it was a song you guys had, or you were the DJ and your brother was the MC, or was a sound you guys were playing?
So that's it. I mean, I was a DJ at the time, and of course, in Jamaica, for dance out, you need an MC. So so I didn't do that. So whenever I'm doing shows, I would just normally call him and be like, "Yo, let's just do this now." And he was like, "Sure, let's go."
From there, doing your stuff now. So it's DJ Sean. You're playing in Mandeville. You have your first spot that you're playing, I guess, on a regular right now in the club there. You
Yes.
understand? So then you're doing your thing now. So then how did you get sight of get hold of radio where it's something like, okay, cool, I'm playing here, but now I want to play on the radio? Was there a radio DJ? Was it the music? What was it about the radio in particular?
All right. Well, I mean, those days is really just cassette and the radio. I mean, that's all we had, and of course the records. But records were from more before me. So pretty much we used to, it for any DJ to be great at what they do, you have to practice, and in my world, you had to listen to the music. That was how we consume music. So we used to consume music from the radio. We used to consume music from the other sound systems we were playing, but the main source was the radio at that time. So you used to listen to radio 24/7, 365. At the time, Fame FM was running the place. All the Fame DJs were just doing them thing. You had the RFM DJs who were running the place again. You have, the Gary G, the Mighty Man, those guys were running the place. You still had other DJs from other stations who were doing pretty well. So radio was the thing on how we consume music at that time. So I think it was just natural for me to just listen to the radio. So at times, as I mentioned, I had a turntable. I had turntable.
Turntable.
It's one turntable.
Yeah.
I had no mixer. So I used to play the records and try to match it up with the radio, with whatever is playing on the radio. That's how I learned how to mix, So the radio was my best friend.
Yeah, and because remember back then there is no YouTube, no nothing. It's you got to figure this out on your own.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, doing your stuff now. You're in Mandeville and stuff now. So then, did you get to Kingston to actually pursue music, or how did you end up there? And what does it have to do with your music journey?
Sure. So after doing the clubs in Mandeville now, I decided that, hey, I want to do this radio thing, so let me go and pursue this career, the radio career. So I did Northern Caribbean University, mass communication right there. So that was me pursuing a career, And then right after came Zip 103 FM. I used to do remixes, and I was the remix guy in Mandeville at that time that used to put all the other sound system dub plays and other hip hop beats for them and all that kind of stuff. So in doing so, I met a lot of sound system guys and just guys in music. And I did something for this guy, Chris Capone. We were at the club playing one night, and he came there and he heard me playing some remixes, and he's like, yo, some of those crazy, can I get some of them? And I introduced myself. I said, yo, I can make some for you, whatever it is. And met Chris Capone, and Chris Capone, he worked at Zip 103 at the time. It was pretty much a new station. The station wasn't even a year old, at the time. I was like, yo, I heard it, and I just think it's wicked. If you can get me a job, that would be cool. And he was the one who said, okay, sure, no problem. And he got me an audition, and didn't work out. I failed miserably.
Okay, so you tried it first and it didn't work out the first time.
Not even one time. I tried twice. I went again. He got me a next audition, and I failed again.
What?
I failed a second time. And then I was like, yo, I started finding whole heap of reasons why I failed. So I was like, yo, the guy wasn't treating me right, and this and that and blah. And then I got a third audition. And I didn't fail. I didn't pass. However, in the middle of the audition, I was like, you know what? I don't think this is for me. And I started packing up and walking out. And then the boss at the time, Judith Barty, was like, so when I hire you, I don't want you to give up this easily. And that's how I got hired to Zip 103 FM.
Yeah.
So I still haven't passed my audition yet.
She just, what it is? I guess she liked your determination to see that you're trying. So as long as you continue to get better, it would work out type of things, possibly.
For sure. I don't know what it is she saw.
Yeah.
But I'm happy she saw it.
And this was 2003.
This was 2003.
Yeah. Okay, so when you got to Zip, what was your DJ name when you got to Zip?
So when I got to Zip, they're like, yo, okay, Sean, we're not working with that. You have to be, they're like, nobody calls themselves their original name. So here are some names, and they throw some of them, and the one that rang a bell to me was Crow, right? And then Judith was like, yeah, Chrome kind of fit you, and then you can say CR203 hard. And I didn't get it at the time. I didn't get it at the time. But then I did chemistry. So it came to me after a while. You know, the CR203 hard is one of the materials. CR203 is chromium oxide, one of the materials that's used to make Crow. So that's what it came out.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
So yeah, it's for the brain peeps.
Yeah. Get you. 100. Okay, so then now you start. How quickly did you start on the radio? Did you have to wait a month, a week, the next day? When did you actually start on the air?
No, I mean, well, if I'm being honest, they were ready the next day. Pretty much, they were like, "Yo, okay, we are ready, and there's an extra opening. There's an opening that I could be a studio engineer as well, because when they looked at my resume, they saw that I worked with all the softwares that, you know, and they're like, there's another opening. Would you like it as well? Of course, you know, I agreed to say, yeah, man, definitely, I want that. You know, and I jumped in.
So you would have engineered other people's shows, so you weren't on air as a personality. You'd have been engineering other people's shows.
Right, definitely. So I was a well, maybe not studio engineer. I was a recording studio engineer. You know, so it's most of the post work or the pre work per se. So you know, if you have programs and commercials and all those things, that would have been me alongside. There was this other engineer by the name of Preston. I was there. It was more senior to me at the time. And yeah, we would have worked together
At that point there. And when you got to Zip, who else was there as ZJs?
Who else was there? You had all the big guns. You had Liquid, of course. You had Johnny Cool. You have Ice. You had Sparks. You had Venus. You had everybody. You know what I mean? All the big guns there. There was Jazzy T at the time. There was Delano at the time. Yeah, I was just a small fry.
Okay, yeah, because I know Jazzy T and Delano, they were really instrumental in starting that.
For sure. And let me not say Sparks. You had Wild Child.
Yes.
You had Wild Child. Yes.
Because that was our original name before Sparks.
Yes.
Yeah. So you got it. And then when you got in now into the fold, they put you on air and all this stuff. Which ZJ really embraced you and showed you the game of Zip, where this was something you had to figure out on your own?
No, I mean, I think, you know, at Zip, where I was like a family. And, you know, I don't think there's just one ZJ that showed me the game. I mean, I mean, most of them I knew from being at the club. From being at the club, you'd have had all of them pass through at some point, and I would have met them before. So nobody really showed me the Zip game. You know, it's really a thing that you figure out on your own. But it's definitely a family vibe. So if I go on the road and if I was DJ and I do have an MC, one day we take out the microphone and they would work. You know, it's that kind of vibe. It was just all fun. If Liquid drop a new song and I don't have it, it's like, yo, you want it? You know. That's energy, I think.
Yeah, so then it was real family where everybody looked out for each other because it's the common goal is Zip, and we're just pieces of the bigger machine.
For sure.
Yeah, definitely there. So then now you're thrown into this situation, you're playing, and it seems like you're still taking your remix skills now to the radio at this point here now.
For sure. I mean, remixes was just a part of my thing, of course, inspired by the earlier guys like Delano and the Black Chinese and those kind of people. Definitely, like, remixing was the thing to be different. Of course, we can play what everybody has played, but you need to have something that says me, you know what I mean? So, I mean, that was it for me, the remixes. I didn't have dubplate, so it was all remixes.
And when did you start interacting with artists at this time here now, where they started to notice, oh, this is EJ Chrome here? Yeah,
well, I mean, working at Zip on 3 FM, they would come for interviews, and then I would be working in the studio as well. So when they come and they do a live interview or something, they would still have to come to the recording studio and give us some jingles or some drops, and I start to meet them slowly. You know, little by little, I start to meet them, and of course, you're on the radio, so they would have heard you at some point too. So you know, it just kind of the natural flow of a radio station, pretty much.
For sure, you're there doing your things, and I know, like, a couple of years down the road, this might have been 7, Busy Signal now was the one that told you, say, hey, you should get into production. But what even led up to linking with Busy and for him to even suggestion something like that in the first place?
All right, for sure. So, I mean, from time to time, I would try and call some of these artists and say, yo, I have an idea, or I need a dub plate, can you give it to me? And they'll be like, sure, but we don't have no studio. And be like, okay, come down to the studio at Zip. So they'll come to the studio and record dub plates. Busy was one of those guys, super creative, super talented. So I always link him and be like, Busy, come to bro, like, make we work on some things now. So this was no different. It was one of those times where I just reach out to Busy and say, Busy, come in and start make some stuff. But Busy's brain is going like 10,000 miles per hour. So in the studio, we're playing any rhythm, and Busy just start to freestyle and do some whole heap of crazy things that that I doubt he was even expecting. So we made this wicked freestyle, and then Busy's like, yo, Chrome, this too bad, bro. Like, we can't expect this a freestyle only. You understand? He was like, yo, let's make this into a song. No, I knew nothing about production at the time. So Busy said to me, yo, reach out to Dan or one of them producer guy there and see if we can do it. And I did just that. So I reached out to Dan Corleon at the time and said, Dan, have this. Listen to it and tell me, more you build a rhythm feed for me. And Dan listened to it and said, yeah, bad. And Dan is like, okay, he can build some for it. So, he did it. He built the rhythm for me. This led to my first rhythm. It's called Chromium.
Yes.
I call it at the time. Yeah, cliche, but yeah, it's called Chromium. Yeah, and that was my first rhythm. So Dan Corleon now, being in the game for, way longer than me as a producer, he reached out to Vybz Kartel, and just that was how Vybz Kartel recorded on that beat. And then he said to me, yo, reach out to some other people. And I reached out to Voicemail, and I reached out to Beanie Man at the time, and the rhythm just come together. I reached out to Mavado, and the rhythm just came together, and the busiest song, however, though, he was saying that the quality wasn't of his standard, so he was saying, yo, ask Busy to re-record. And I was like, okay, well, let me try and link him. And I don't remember what happened, but that Busy was not, it didn't happen. And that Busy didn't, up to now, it's not released.
It didn't get, okay, and that was what originally started the kickoff on the project.
That was what started everything for me. Yeah, as a producer.
Yeah, that's wild right there. So, okay, so then your first rhythm was basically a hit right out the gate.
Well, I mean, you're working with a hit producer, I guess. Yeah, I mean, Dan Corleon is great, super producer, super talented. He did a song on it as well with Munga, and it was bad. It just crazy. The entire rhythm was wicked. So, I mean, I guess you can say that, but yeah, working with good people is just always lead to good stuff.
Yeah, because I know that rhythm actually came out on 45 at that time there.
Yeah. I think I just recently released it on digitally. Yeah,
because when I look back, I said, hold on, this is on 45, bro? That's crazy to even think about that.
Yeah,
for
sure.
What was it like now having your first production and really seeing it take off? And how long did it take you to put together that whole juggle in there?
I don't remember how long. With the help of Dan, I don't think it was very long. And the artists at those times, they were cool. You could reach out to them, and them, as long as them like it, they would definitely record. And it wouldn't take them long to write a song. So I don't think it was that long. However, the whole process took about, I don't know. I don't remember the timing. However, it was it wasn't hard. If I'm being honest, it wasn't hard. You know what I mean? I think the key here was working with a seasoned producer. He would have created the rhythm, he would have mixed and mastered the rhythm for me. He would have recorded some of the songs. So it wasn't hard from my end. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Because you could see you had enough foresight to actually create a label back then, because that actually came out on your label, but you could see it said produced by you and Don Corleon at that time there.
Right.
But you decided to come up with a label.
Yeah. So and then at that time, for me, music was just fun. I was just doing things just fun. I wasn't thinking about anything. It's just all fun. Yo, I just wanted to see materialize and play on the radio. You know, and it's not me playing it. You know, so it was fun at that time, and it wasn't as hard as today. Today is a lot more difficult.
Got you. We're going to get back to today later on in the conversation, because that's definitely something I want to bring up with somebody like you. With even now, all the songs on the Juggling, were you there when they were all recorded, or it's like Don recorded some of them and you've seen, who did you see record and that left like an impression in your mind, like, holy smokes, this is crazy?
Well, I mean, on that rhythm, I was there when Beat Man was recording, and I was there. I think a voicemail sent in their song. I wasn't there when Carter was recording. I wasn't there when Don and Mungo was recorded. So that rhythm is a little, I wasn't there for most of it. Moving forward now, going on to Triple Bounce. Triple Bounce was one of those rhythms that was crazy as well. That no, I saw a lot of them record. Well, I was there when Mavado was recording on Chromium, and that was crazy, because being in the studio and seeing the entire vibe of everybody, you know, just a bossy shot them when them come up with a line them that was ridiculous. You know what I mean? And the funny story about that song though, the Mavado and Chromium, when he was doing it, and there was a part in there after he did the first 8 bars. Then he started to sing again. And then I was like, singer. But I think if a singer at the song, I think if a DJ. And him turn around and him look at me and say, Chrome, you don't know how we do our thing, man. Right? Yeah. I'm going to say, okay. But there's a lot of guys in the studio at the time. And then I say, yo, okay. And I came out the studio at the time. You know, and then it was Daseka who was recording him at this time. And I was like, they call me the next day and say, yo, the song done and whatever it is. They must send me the file. I say, yo, well, I don't really want it, you know, because if him not do it, told me I do it, it don't make no sense.
Yeah.
You know, and he's like, yo, Chrome, come for the song. Zine, come for the song, Chrome. You know, I was like, bro, like, I don't want it. You understand? If him not do it, told me, even he was like, Chrome, come for the song. I said, okay. I went and checked it. And then he did it the way how I wanted it, eventually. You know what I mean? And then sang the song, bad song. You know. But I guess at that time I never understand the process. Maybe they just do things how they do it, and then they would rearrange and fix up after. But no, me being a little young youth coming up and don't understand the game, you know. I got into my feelings about it at that time. You know what I mean? So
but that's crazy. That's crazy, because you almost, I don't know if fumbled would be the right word, but you almost didn't have that song there, boss.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And the funny thing is that me and Mavado are super close at that time. We were pretty good. Like, Mavado was one of those guys I could always call and say, yo, I need some dub plates, and Mavado would come the same day. You know what I mean? Or so on. So so at that point, I don't know. I don't know. I guess the human in me just got in my feelings at that time.
Because what year did the Triple Bounce come out?
So Triple Bounce came out in 2009.
So okay, so this is 2 years you're in. So your feet are a bit more.
No, this Mavado incident that I'm telling you about was from Riddim 1, Chromium.
From Chromium, yes.
Yeah, from Chromium. Now moving on to Riddim 2 now, Triple Bounce. So Triple Bounce was out of this world now. This was a beat, like, this was me and Genius linking up at the time now, and you know, I had this idea for a beat, and I linked Genius and said, G, like, think you can knock this to me? And he's like, sure. You understand? And we had the beat, and from I heard the beat, I know this beat was going to go crazy, right? Because it was almost identical to the original idea. You understand? So I was like, it's not very often you get people can translate what you have to actuality. You know what I mean? You understand? So Genius did this one. And then I was there when Vybz Kartel was recording. His recording was just out of this world. So I was at the studio. Kartel recorded 2 songs. You know, Kartel Know My Style. Kartel Cartel, he did Mr. Officer first. And Cartel know my style. He's like, Chrome, no worry. We're going to do the girl song. Don't worry yourself. Because he know I like the girl songs.
Yeah.
Right? And I was in the studio there, and the Riddim was playing and playing and playing. And he just, we were all outside. And then him say, pimping ready. And I'm going inside the studio. And I came in there. And he said, press record. And the Riddim was just playing. And the record going on this blank. And then he just started to make one word. I really played go, and then him said, come again. And then he play it again, and then he started to fill in the little lines them, and he started that second verse first. So he started and just did the second verse first. And then go again, and him just do the first verse. He left out the intro, and then he came to the intro last. You know, so watching him record, I didn't understand what he was doing. He pretty much started with ad-libs, pretty much. You understand?
That's
started with ad-libs, did the second verse, first verse, then him do the intro. And I was like, yo, when it came together, I was like, yo, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And this was done in like a 30-minute span. You know what I mean? This was done like a 30-minute span. So hats off to Cartel, yo.
And I guess at that time there, this would have been the craziest way you've seen an artist record a song up until that time there.
Definitely, because I've recorded artists myself, and we always do it the typical way. Okay, let's do the intro, or maybe we leave off the intro. Let's do first verse, second verse, and then whatever it is. Or seeing somebody do something like ad-libs, and then they come around and do second verse, then they do the first verse, was out of this world.
Yeah, because you're building it backwards almost, and I mean, there's no rhyme or reason to how you're building it this way, but when it's done, it makes total sense.
Yeah. So just trust the process, basically. That's what that. I mean, watching him record like that taught me. It taught me to just trust the process of this thing. You know what I mean? So, yeah, Cartel wicked, man. I mean, that for me raised how I saw Cartel. You understand? And that was one of the first times I'm actually fully meeting Cartel. Because I've recorded songs with him before, which was the one from Chromium with him, but I didn't meet him. That was one of that was like the second or third time I was actually talking to Cartel one-on-one.
Yeah. And that experience here left an impression in your mind forever. Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay, even another monster song that came off of that there too was the Mr. Vegas.
Mr. Vegas.
Gallus, yeah.
Yes. Definitely. Well, I wasn't there when that song was being recorded. I sent him the rhythm and be like, Veggie, record on this and whatever it is. And he was like, sure. And he recorded the song, and I remember we got the files and I brought it. I mean, we were by Stephen doing the mixing, and what stood out about that song to me, it was just different from all other songs on the rhythm. Everybody was DJing like this, you know, and that song was just grooving like this. You understand? So I mean, when I heard it and Steve was doing the mixing, I said to Steve, yo, Steve, it wouldn't if you play some like a chords or something for this kind of melody, you know, the beginning. And he was like, yo, sure, no problem. You understand? And that's what we did. And yo, big song, one of the biggest songs on the beat.
For sure. Yeah. Because that has Idonia, Vegas, two cartels, Mavado, Voicemail. There's a bag of songs on the rhythm there.
Yeah. Steve was the one who recorded Hope and Pray for me. I mean, I had reached out to Mavado at the time and said, yo, Movi, can record for me? I was like, sure. And Steve was one of those guys who kind of helped me out a lot as well. Because Steve was like, okay, well, whenever they come by the studio, I'm going to play it for them, and then we'll see if we come up with anything. So Steve was very, very integral in that process as well.
Yeah, because you could see there was a lot of big ship artists on at that time there too, plus the outsiders that were on the rhythm there.
For sure.
Big rhythm. So then now you have that rhythm there now. When you took it to the radio, did you know that it was going to do what it did at that time there when you started to play it? Or it was a slower burn?
You know, if I'm being honest, we can't predict where it's going to go. You know, you put in your best work, you know it's very good, but we can't predict that, this one is going to just take the place by storm. You know, after playing it a couple times on the radio and you see the feedback, you're like, yo, this is crazy. Knowing that it would still be relevant in 2025, I couldn't have predicted that. It's one of the go-to rhythms if you want for just live for the party. It's sure. It's the one of those sure things. It's not if or maybe it's gonna play. If you're at the party from party start to party end, you're gonna hear it. It's not a question. I can say that confidently. You're gonna hear it.
No, Triple Bounce
I couldn't
is
have predicted
definitely like that.
but definitely, we had good songs, but I never, as I mentioned, I couldn't see it going to 2025 and beyond.
That's wild. That's wild to even think about that. So then that's '09. So then at this time here, you're seasoned on the radio. You're 6 years in. So then now you're ZJ Chrome, the man. So they know this is Chrome. Your productions are hidden and everything. So how was it balancing the life of being a producer and being a radio person at the same time when you first got into the production and stuff? How was it? How did you balance?
Well, I mean, as I mentioned, everything was fun. So nothing felt like work. Nothing felt hard. At this time, I was still living in between Mandeville and Clarendon. I was really living in Mandeville, but sometimes I was so tired because I would have worked 8 to 4 being a studio engineer, and then I would have radio probably 10 o'clock in the night that goes to 2 a.m. and I would have to come up by 8 the next morning. So at this time, it was very hard. After that 2 a.m. in the morning, I'm driving home going to Mandeville. When I'm too tired, I stop in Clarendon by my original house, by the parents. And it was very difficult. But for me, it was fun. So it didn't feel like it was a job, or it didn't even feel pressured. You know what I mean? At this point, as I mentioned, good producers that are helping me as well. So I can always link Steven and say, yo, Steven, I'm going to send you something. You can mix it and let me hear it. And he would have done that. You know what I mean? So it wasn't as hard. On my nights that I'm not doing anything, I would go by the studio and we'd just finish up everything together. So, I mean, with the help of these people, it was always a little easier for me. But the main thing is that it was just fun. I was just doing it because I loved it and I wanted to do it. You know, so I didn't feel any form of pressure or the need to balance. It was just my life now, and that's it.
This is just what I do. This is how it works.
What I do, and this is how it is.
Yeah. I got that 100%. Triple Bounce is out here doing everything. What was your next rhythm that came after Triple Bounce?
So after that, I did the Smokin rhythm. Smokin. Originally, it was supposed to be called Smokin 8, because I wanted just 8 songs. Because Triple Bounce had like 20 songs in it. So this one I wanted just 8 songs. So I call it Smokin 8. But at that time, with the success of Triple Bounce, I was a hot producer, and everybody wanted to record for you. So I started out, recording 1 or 2 songs, and then before you know it, it turned Smokin 15 or 20. You know what I mean? Kartel had recorded as well. You had Mavado doing Stola with that one. You had Tifa. So I met Tifa on the road now. Like, Tifa called me and be like, yo, if I can record on the rhythm. I didn't know Tifa at the time. She had 1 or 2 songs that, of course, I was playing on the radio, but I didn't meet her. This is my first time meeting her. And she called me and said she can get the rhythm. I sent her the rhythm. And then I remember a couple of days after, she called me and be like, yo, I have the files. It was on CD, so I had to meet her for it. I was driving. I met Tifa on the side of the road. And Tifa gave me the CD and be like, yo, here it is. I hope you like it. I was like, okay. And went back to the studio with it, and Genius again, this was a me and Genius collab again. And Genius doing magic, because Genius is very awesome at what he does,
Sure.
So him doing magic, and here comes another set of hits, you know what I mean? Here comes, apart from the Kartel, that was just Kartel lead that song, by the way. So Kartel lead that song, and at this time YouTube was coming in now. Kartel lead that song on YouTube.
Okay.
I lead that song on YouTube and it blew up on YouTube.
Yeah.
At that time I was like, geez, I'm not Kartel lead the song, right? Mavado was doing his thing with Stola at the time, and Tifa's song was just out of this world, because Genius added some a new drum pattern to it, and it was a wicked vibe, So when Genius played back for me the first time, I say, yo, this sick. You understand? Then he pitched the voice down. I was like, yo, bro, yeah, sick. So they came Smokin, and then in 2010 as well, I did Mad Collab.
This is when the game completely changed for you, boss.
Yes. Yes. So going with these stringer hits that I had now, I said, yo, I want to do something different this time. I just don't want to produce an next rhythm. So I said I wanted to do a collaborative rhythm, you know what I mean? A rhythm where it's just all collaborations. And actually I had a song that was done for me before. There's a single that I was doing before. And I was like, for some reason I never like it. The artist, I mean, did a song on it and I never like it, but I'm saying, yo, let me try and knock over this beat. And I tried a whole heap of different things, and I wasn't liking it. So I'm just kind of park it. And then, you know, I came up with this thing and I said, okay, let me do a rhythm with this collaboration. But it was inspired by that song.
Got you.
That song that I didn't release. Still haven't been released.
Still hasn't been released?
Nah.
Yeah.
You understand? And then, you know, I reached out to Charlie Black and Chi-Ching Ching, and there are some voices on that again. Charlie Chi-Ching Ching, Ding Dong. Charlie Chi-Ching Ching and Ding Dong. And they did a song on it, and I was like, yes. I didn't want a two-way collab that was normal. So I wanted 3 or more.
Yeah.
And that's when I reached out to Kartel, and I reached out to Mavado, I reached out to everybody. And so I reached out to some selectors, because at the time, being a DJ, Mataran was doing things same way.
Richie Feelings and them were...
Yes, I reached out to all of them and said, yo, if we can make this happen. And, you know, they made it happen. I reached out to Elephant Man Link, Bounty Killer. Well, actually, that song was supposed to be Elephant Man and Idonia.
That's who it was supposed to be originally.
Yes. So if you notice, Monty said, when you see bad people step up in at the club enough, we move, bad people talk at the time was Idonia. So he wrote the song for Idonia. Yeah. For some reason, Idonia, it didn't work out that he recorded. You know, we linked him a couple of times and it just never worked out. You know, and he's like, yo, Bounty then. You know, I will link Bounty Killer. As you can see, Bounty Killer, I mean, I don't know if you know the rhythm, but Bounty Killer is on another track on that rhythm with Bugle, Bounty Killer, and Agent Sasko, because that was the original collab for Bounty Killer.
Okay, so then he replaced Idonia, and then that's how the Elephant Man and Idonia came around. But his original song was him, Bugle, and Sasko, you said?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So that would have been the original, and then came about, and Clarks made history. You know, if you want to talk about Clarks, we can do that. You know what I mean? But Clarks,
we soon get into the magnitude of Clarks. But even if you look at that, the Bounty and Elephant Man, I'm surprised that it only has the 2 of them, because as you're saying, it's usually 3 and up here looking. But that song in particular just had the 2 of them.
Yeah, you know, a funny story as well. I was looking for a third person to put on that track, and I had a few options, but it just wasn't working out for me. It just didn't sound the way how I wanted. I wanted it to sound. And then Ellie was just like, "Yo, just to the me and Bounty and done." But we did try some other people on it, and it didn't sound the way how we wanted it to sound. So we just say, "Yo, let's just stick with the Bounty and Elephant Man." And it was history at the time, because Bounty and Elephant Man, they didn't do a song for years before this one. So pretty much it would still have made an impact in the way you put it. So we thought, you know what, let's just go ahead and do it.
Big there. So then now, Clarks, how did you did you put that together, or you said Kartel you want and he put it together? How did that come together?
Yo, Clarks now is just out of this world. I mean, at that time, man, Kartel cool. I had Kartel number. Kartel used to send me his music, and I used to send him the rhythms and so on. And I sent the rhythm team and be like, bro, I want the new youth that you're working with. You know, Vanessa Bling, the new youth would have been Popcaan at the time. You know, and I said, yo, just do a collab for me, dog, and make it all flossing and them kind of thing there, like, you know what I mean? Yeah, do the thing. And Kartel said, okay. In the evening, so I sent it to him like about 10 a.m. in the morning. Roughly around about 4 o'clock, Kartel said, yo, Chromium, the baddest song. I'm going to record it tomorrow. upper Dan. And I said, okay. And the next day, I went to work. I was doing my regular engineering work in the studio, and Dan called me. And Dan came and said, Chrome, you have a bad song up here. I don't know how you can manage it. And I was like, so play it now, man, when we hear it. He said, no, bro. No, I'm not play this here, bro. You have to come listen to this yourself. And that was Clarks. You know what I mean? The next thing I know, I got the Clarks. I heard the Clarks. I was like, yo, this is crazy. And before it was mixed or anything, no. I don't remember the date, but it was one in the week. So this was like a Thursday that all this happened. I said, on a Saturday, I'm going to try it on the radio because it was 100% clean. So I said, let me try this on the radio. I was working on the radio Saturday morning, and I played it on the radio. And the phone lines went like this. The phone lines couldn't stop going off. On my phone, people were calling my phone like, yo, that song there. And I knew that song would have been crazy. So I was just testing it on the radio at that time. And it went crazy. Yeah, so, yeah.
No, because that was a legend. That song there, Clarks was one of those songs where the very first time you heard it, that song, but the very first time I heard it, I said, okay, this song is bad.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that song is one of those songs that bad from the intro. From Popcaan said, wow. From Carter said, wow, go on Popcaan. And he replied, the song is a hit.
No.
Yeah, so it's a hit.
Big. And I think Popcaan even stated that this is where he really got his break from, was Clarks. Gave him his big break.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree. Popcaan was doing his thing, you know what I mean? This was the early days of Popcaan. And for me, he was a new guy. So that's why I mentioned the Carter. I said, yo, just use a new guy because he was doing him thing. He was doing him thing at the time. And, I was like, yo, just use a new guy. I didn't know he was going to come up with such a catchy slang. You know what I mean? And when you get a new Clarks, daddy, that's just out of this world. You know what I mean? So, big up, Papi.
For sure. And then was this one of your first videos that you decided to film, was Clarks?
No, I mean, in these days, I didn't do any much videos. This video was done by Kartel, actually. Kartel was the one who just did this video.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't do much with videos in those days. I mean, if I get a chance right now, I would reshoot Clarks. I would talk to Kartel about it and see if we can get it done. But it's just one of them songs, there, man, where it just out of this world. It's still relevant today, and I think it's still going to be relevant 10 years from now. And video-wise, I just feel like we need a nice, proper video for it, a modern day video for it.
It was, at that time, it worked because it was a lot of street videos. We weren't getting videos like that, but Kartel was the man when it came to music videos. We'd say, yo, just turn on the camera and let's go. That was Kartel. So those street videos were working, but now if you want to give it...
I didn't know that. I'm just a reader guy who loved the music. I didn't up to today, I don't watch a lot of videos.
Yeah.
I'm still into the music with the ear, not necessarily with the visuals. Yeah.
Got you. No. Definitely, I remember that time there. So everything is happening. Your career is taking off. You're doing a lot of good stuff. When was the first time you recorded Alkaline?
Alkaline, I think that was like 2013, 2012, thereabout. I recorded Alkaline. Actually, it's actually a funny story. So by 2010, I would have made my first reggae rhythm. I would have been the cardiac bass, and I started that series.
Okay, that was a series. Okay, so then we're gonna hold the Alkaline because I don't want to skip the cardiac bass, string, and keys, because that right there is another level again.
Yeah. So in 2010, that was I made my first reggae rhythm. So being a guy who didn't like reggae,
sounds so funny to hear you say that, guy.
No, like it's okay because it's the human factor. It's the truth. So I didn't like reggae in the early days, and then Barry Salmon, They Gonna Talk was the first reggae song I actually fell in love with. Like, yo, that song is bad. They Gonna Talk, that was the first reggae song. I bought that song on the record. That was where I started to listen to selective reggae. So I was into more the lovers rock kind of reggae. Not really the roots thing, but I was into the lovers rock. And then that was the beginning of my whole reggae career. So I decided that, yo, listen, I have whole part dancehall rhythm that are successful. Let me try reggae rhythm. And that was when I came up with the cardiac bass, right? So cardiac for the heart bass. That's just really what it is. You understand? So I reached out to Cecile at the time and Alain, who I did rate, and all these people, and they recorded Alain. No, Cecile, I should say, said, yo, if I can record Chris Martin, because Chris Martin has he's fresh out of Rising Star doing him thing, whatever it is, and you know, I was like, sure, anything is a C, because me and Cecile have been always working on music in the background.
Yeah.
Couple years before that, and Chris Martin recorded his song, and I reached out to Jack Hero. Jack Hero is one of my all-time favorites. When it comes to music, Jack Hero out of this world, and vocals is top tier. You understand? And I reached out to him, and of course, I had to reach out to Kartel at the time. Kartel was my guy, so I reached out to Kartel at the time, and he recorded, and of course, I recorded. Other people recorded bugle and voicemail, and so wholly more people on that cardiac bass rhythm. And this one now was a collaboration with Brich, Christopher Brich. So for me, Brich was making some reggae rhythms at the time that I did like, you know what I mean? And I reached out to him and said, Brich, you think we can do this? And Brich said, sure. And Brich was the one who made that beat for me and whatever it is. And the rest is history. Paper Loving is a big song.
Monster.
The is a huge song.
Monster.
You know, the Alkaline is a big song, and you can name the rest. You know, the Kartel is a big. It's Kartel. When Kartel goes to his reggae segments, is one of the songs that is always in his set. You know, so yeah. And then from the success of that, now I was like, this is good. Maybe I should make another one just like it.
Okay, so you didn't start out with the plan to put three in a row. It wasn't that plan at first.
No. So I like, this is good. Maybe I should start another one.
Yeah.
So I use the same drums. So I link Brich. I use the same drums, pretty much. And then we said we're going to play different phrases around it and make it a little different. And played it. Same drums. Here comes cardiac strings. This came three cheetahs prior. You understand? And Jack Hero again, and we use the same concept now for cardiac keys. You know, and of course, it started out as cardiac bass. So of course, I'm playing with the heart and the instrument. So it's cardiac bass, cardiac strings, cardiac keys. So it's really the heart and the instrument. So it's all a set of lovers rock thing. You know, I mean, by the time I reached cardiac strings, I knew I was going to do cardiac keys. You know, so yeah, that's how it came about.
Yeah, no, you see that cardiac series there? It was, that time it was, you could tell, because you said you didn't really like reggae. It was The Bears Ham They're Gonna Talk was the first one, but you could tell it wasn't a traditional sounding reggae per se. It was modern with the same elements of a traditional reggae, and that's why I think it worked.
I'm happy you said that, because if you notice, I mean, a secret to my reggae rhythms is that I always try to keep modern phrases in there. They always have some arpeggios or something that is really modern. So Taras actually tells me the story every time he sees me. Like legit, if I see Taras today, Taras will tell me the story. He was like, yo, I was at a show in Barbados, and he was backstage, and he hear one rhythm drop, and he go ta-ta-ta, ta-ta-ta, and he said the whole crowd lift up, and Taras said, stop the conversation and say, oh, which rhythm that?
Yeah.
You know, and somebody tell him, says married him, and he's like, yo, oh, Chromium reach out to me with this, but I did. But he didn't record at the time. You know what I mean? So I was like, it was that modern phrase that actually got his ear. You know what I mean? So
because you retain the bass line and stuff like that, but as you said, there's that element that you bring it up to a modern sound. You see when when you dropped the rhythm them, Dan was dropping his rhythm them time. Birch jump. You see that reggae segment at that time there, boss? Next level.
For me, Dan is just a next level when it comes to these reggae stuff. You know? Next level. The ear he has is just next level.
For sure. Yeah. And how do you choose what producer you're going to work with to either collaborate with to build the beat, or whoever you collaborate? How do you choose?
I mean, it's pretty simple. It's whoever here doing it for me. There's no elimination process or anything. It's just if I hear Steven making this one, I link Steven and say, "Yo, can build this for me?" I mean, hearing the beats or having the idea, I have my own idea of who I think can bring it out best. And that's normally I reach out to them. My collab rhythm was made by Chimney.
Yeah, so Jordan them.
Jordan Izzo. You know what I mean? And for that beat, I had Russian do something as well, but it didn't click how I wanted it to click. I mean, other producers just try something, it didn't work. I tried something myself, it wasn't working. Jordan and just find it. Izzo just find it.
So you just
it's
know,
really so.
you just know when you hear that song, even if you can't really articulate it, you just know that's it right there.
Definitely.
That's the sound.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Because remember, you're collaborating with top tier producers, especially at this time here. We're talking about Brich, Corleon, Steven the Genius, Jordan at Izzledem, whoever you were collaborating, and even yourself. You guys there were really putting out some of the monster songs at this time here.
Yeah, and I do feel the key is because maybe in a DJ, being in the music for quite a while, I've heard so many hit songs, I've heard so many songs just in general, and I feel like that ear helped to mold my productions.
For sure, because you know when you stand up and you're looking at the crowd and you see what moves them, it's just now you have an idea. It's just who could bring this idea to life to what I have in my mind.
For sure, 100%.
No,
100%.
I agree with that there. You're doing your stuff. Okay, so Cardiac Bass. Did you put out the Cardiac series? Did you put out a next dancehall after that, and then you got to Alkaline, or you got to Alkaline right after?
So yeah, I did have dancehall effects.
Yes, with Dancehall Hero and stuff like that.
Yeah, so that came Dancehall Hero, Idonia, Bad People, when I take that from the boy, and more, So at this time, I was just firing out rhythms like crazy, I mean, just dropping. This was Dancehall Effects I mean, most of my stuff I'd have some form of idea behind it. This one I wanted to use the popular sound effects in dancehall at the time and incorporate them in a rhythm, just called Dancehall Effects. After a couple of bars, you'll hear like the piano, you'll hear the
right, yes,
right.
Bro.
You hear the lick shot, what I mean, you hear the horn, whatever it is. So I wanted to just do that, and I just wanted to always have ideas. So I always try to execute ideas that I have in my head. It's not just let me just make a rhythm today. No, it's always based off something I have in my head.
And again, I think that's coming from the remix side of your mind.
I agree, 100%.
Where you like to experiment, put these things together, and just see what happens. Okay, it works. Not all the time it's going to work, but once it connects, it freaking connects.
Yeah. So I think, with doing that and working with some of these big names, I think it always comes together because they have an ear as well with my ideas as well, and we'll combine together. It just works. Yeah. And then the artists were A-game artists as well. They were very particular and precise about what they do. And I think more than anything else, we were doing it out of love. All of us were just doing it out of love. We're just doing it because we wanted to just do it. We weren't thinking about anything else more than, we could just kill this.
Because we love it. You know what I mean? Let's take this as far as we could take it at this time.
Exactly.
Here. Yeah. So even that there, you're doing it out of love and all that's cool, But when did you actually learn the business of music production?
Well, the business, I would say I'm still learning. However, so Triple Bones came about and a record label wanted it. And I got the contracts in my hand. And I was like, okay, let me try and reach out to some people to see if they can help me with this. I couldn't afford a lawyer at the time, so I was like, okay, let me try and read this myself and reach out to some of the peeps. I did. I didn't get much help. Most of the guys were like, this is foolishness. You have to tell them for the better than this. I was like, okay, what should I say?
Yeah.
But I didn't get back anything substantial that I could bring back to the record label. So I ended up not knowing the business and signed away Triple Bones. So that now was what triggered me to start to learn the business. Since then, I've educated myself 100% on the business, but the business ever changing and they're always adding new things. So that's why I say I'm still continuing to learn. So that was when I started to learn the business, when I signed this away, and I just realized that, I just made a bad move, you know? I asked for the help. I didn't get it at the time. So, hey, it's what it is. Nobody's obligated to help you. So yeah, it's fine. And that's it. So I took it as a learning experience, and then I learned the business myself.
No, because that's a big rhythm. But imagine you would signed away freaking like mad collab now, bro.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But everything is a learning lesson, and there's always time to learn from your mistakes, and hopefully it's never anything too crazy where you could you didn't burn anybody or burn yourself where you can't come back from this mistake.
Definitely not. Definitely not.
Yeah, definitely. So, okay, you have all these hit rhythms. Everything is happening now. As I said, the introducing to Alkaline now, because Alkaline is, to me, it's somebody you didn't work with a lot, but you had got some crazy stuff out of it, though.
Yeah, for sure. So I mean, I met the guys from well, actually, I had this show by the name of Urban Mondays, where we normally it was 4 hours of hip hop, and I started putting the dancehall artists and the hip hop beats to kind of, flavor it up a bit. Of course, I still coming from a remix world. So people were saying to me, yo, try get Alkaline. At this time, I didn't know Alkaline. I got 1 or 2 tweets at the time to say, link Alkaline. So I shouted over the radio, I said, Alkaline, me here say you wanted the baddest thing.
Yeah.
Give me a freestyle now.
God.
And the next day, I did that the Monday night. On the Tuesday, freestyle came in my inbox. Right? So I saved it for the next Monday, of course. And I played it, and the whole place got crazy. Say, yo, Alkaline, freestyle. And that's how the link with Alkaline happened. The guys, his team at the time, reached out to me as well and say, yo, like, anything you want from Alkaline, just make me know. And I started to listen to his songs, and then I think at this point I had a show in Costa Rica, and I went over there and I saw some Alkalines playing, and I was like, which song never? I didn't know these songs at the time, and that's how it came about now. Then from knowing the managers, started to reach out to Alkaline, and then we recorded, I think it was Make It Clap was the first song we recorded, but I had it for a while before I actually released it.
Okay.
And then we did What You Did There. And then it goes up the line. We did another song on a rhythm that I had called Futuro rhythm at the time. And then we did With the Team.
Yeah. Because even, as I said, these things you're linking with him and all these things here. But there was one song in particular where this has caused problems with you and Bounty at this time here.
Right. That was a good song.
Yeah. Man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Easy.
For me, I was just doing music. I didn't care about the real politics of that, what goes on beyond the music. So Alkaline did a song, and him have a disrespectful line there where he diss somebody else. For me, it was just music. At the times, me and Futa were cool. Me and Bunty did cool. Well, so I thought then Bunty, reacted to it and say, oh, we shouldn't produce a song like that. I diss him. But for me, this wasn't the first time I'm doing a song that is dissing anybody. I remember doing a song before that on the Dancehall Effects Rhythm where somebody was being dissed as well. I think they were dissing Kartel.
On Dancehall Effects Rhythm?
Yeah, and I did release it. It wasn't a big deal. So for me, it wasn't a big deal at the time. It was just music. I thought everybody just knows, it's just music. It's not my opinion. It's somebody else's opinion. You know what I mean? And we understood that this is how the rhythm thing work. You drop a rhythm and a man voice and voice, and if you more express on it, the rhythm is always there for you to answer it as well. Call me back and say, yo, give me the rhythm. And you can answer. That was what I was expecting. Not a pushback to say, hey, yo, like, what you did was rubbish. Like, you shouldn't have produced that. So that was my side.
So that one kind of caught you off guard.
Yeah, so Monte Killer kind of started to cream me over that. That was it.
Did you guys do any more music after that? You and Bounty?
I don't think so. I can't remember us doing anything else after that. But Bounty Killer at the time was Bounty Killer in terms of he was already legendary, and to work with Bounty was a privilege. You know what I mean? I was more focused on the younger guys that were doing them thing at the time. Just a typical young producer I work with who is running the place now and whatever it is. Bounty's legendary, always will be legendary. If you get to work with Bounty, as I mentioned, that's a major privilege. So Bounty wasn't one of the first person I'd reach out to when I'm producing something. But I don't think we worked since then. But we're good. I'm Bounty Killer great right now.
Yeah. It's just remember, producing with somebody and you having a misstep with them, that doesn't mean in the future we're not working. It's just the stars didn't align yet. For us to sit down and work again.
For sure.
You understand? So, okay. So I think I skipped something. I'm going to go back to come back forward. 2010, you and Thing, everything, it seems like all of the rhythms you had put out from your first production had Vybz Kartel on it. If not one song, two songs from the very jump. You understand? Doing your stuff here now. You have the big Clarks and all of this stuff here. This is 2010. Kartel ended up going to jail in 2011. And this is when you guys are basically at the top of your musical game at this point here.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I rate Kartel as an artist because he's very creative. Now, when I send a beat to Kartel, I guarantee you the next day I'm going to get a song. So working with Kartel is very easy. You know, that's one. Two, I just rate him. Every time I get a song from Kartel, I'm saying, how did he think of that line? Like, he would put some rhymes together that you're saying, who thinks of that? You know what I mean? So he's always been one of my favorite artists. I'm a fan of Kartel pretty much. You know what I mean? So it was easy for me to work with Kartel, you know what I mean? And then with him being so quick with the music as well, there's a whole string of unreleased songs that we have. You understand? We do have unreleased songs, you know, that's never been released. You know, and then, you know, at this point now where you mentioned that he went to prison at this time, that was a dampener for me. You know what I mean? This was one of the guys who him always giving, if I send him a rhythm that doing like this, him have a song. You understand? It's like him come with something. Him like, you a clap on me, alright? You understand? It's like it was just crazy. You know what I mean? So yeah, it definitely took a dampener on me. Because one of my guys who actually can give me the first motivation. Because sometimes putting a rhythm together is not easy. It sounds easy when we're speaking about it, but actually reaching out to the artist them and you know they set it in record and you wait weeks and weeks and then don't record, and sometimes they go in the booth, and when you go in the booth they start it and do the first verse and they say, okay, I've come up with the second verse. It's like, it's hard. So working with someone like Kartel, who you can just say send a beat and then the next day he sends you back a full complete song, and it's not just any song, it's a bad song. Definitely put a dampener on me. You understand? For me, and it slowed down my creative process at that time.
So at first, I guess when he got locked up, to keep the momentum going, you just had to start releasing stuff that you had recorded already.
For sure. So I did have some stuff that was in the safe. I like to call it. You understand? I did start to do some stuff that was in the safe. Yeah. Until that changed a little bit and he wanted some more fresher stuff. So those kind of songs start to come out now.
What was
the telephone sounding ones?
That's what I was going to ask you. What was the first song that you guys now recorded with him being locked up at this time?
I think we did Do It Where I Do It. I Do It Where I Do It. Yeah, I think that was the first one.
And this was probably about a year after he got locked up?
This was 2012, I think.
Yeah, about a year.
2013. I can't remember. Yeah. Is that a 12 or 13? I don't remember.
And what was it like now working with him, being behind bars and you're on the road? What was that process like, putting those songs together?
It was a lot of work. You know, I mean, we used to high studio quality. We were getting high studio quality. So, you know, it was a lot of work to try and figure out how we can get this to sound good. You know what I mean? Close enough to good. You know, so it's yeah, it was a lot of work, a lot of learning. What it taught me is how to use a lot of different noise software. You know what I mean? It taught me how to manipulate dirty sounding audio. You know what I mean? And so on. But it was a lot of work. You had other producers as well who helped in this whole process as well, to help and clean them up and fix it up. You know what I mean? So it can sound at least decent enough.
Because what I find funny,
and there are some songs that we actually, I mean, I don't want to say what they are, but we actually intentionally put that tone on it just to give you that vibe.
Yeah. So it makes sense. So it's almost like it's supposed to sound this way.
It's supposed to sound this way.
Yeah. Because I remember watching an interview where somebody was asking you, it's so funny to go back and watch all the interviews when everybody's asking, is he recording in jail? And to see everybody's answer back then, it's like, no, not really. These songs we had from years ago. Yeah. Look over there. What's going on over there?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I guess nobody wants to say that. But yeah, I mean, we did have the older stuff that we were trying to manipulate to make it sound like that as well. So, yeah.
Definitely, you're doing your stuff there now. There's a big event that you have called Strictly Y2K. All right.
Well, when did Strictly 2K?
Strictly 2K. Yes. When did you start? When did you start that?
So I was with some guys who put on parties. They came to the radio station and they were doing something, and I knew them because I always booked me for shows and that kind of stuff. And I was saying to them like, yo guys, like these shows we're not doing, we need a little twist to it, you know. Like we can't be doing the same 90s show over and over and over and over and over, you know. And they're like, okay, so what do you think? I said, just why don't we do a 2000 show? Like you guys just do a 2000 show, and we can get to play these songs and whatever it is. It's fresh. It's gonna be different. And he's like, okay, you want to do it with me? You know? And I was like, okay, no problem. You know? And that was how Strictly 2K came about. So this guy was IB Conte. So he was doing a lot of parties at the time, and that's how Strictly 2K came about, where we just started to plan it. And we said, okay, what kind of music and whatever it is. At the time, they had a party called Strictly Addy.
Yes.
So they were the first ones who came out with that Strictly Cartel party. So they had Strictly Addy at the time, and I used to play on it a lot. So he's like, okay, what do you think about Strictly 2K? We can just call it Strictly 2K, and it's the 2000 music. And the question came up if we should call it Y2K or 2K. We're like, no, we're leaving out the Y. We don't know why they even put the Y in there in the beginning. Strictly 2K, strictly 2000s, you know. And that's it. You know, that's how Strictly 2K came about. And it's happening on May 24th. It's going to be off the chain. I have to plug it. Hey.
What year was your first year?
That I'll have to look back on. I don't know if it's 2015. I don't remember. I can't remember. I think it's 2015.
And what we're seeing now is it didn't start that size that it is.
Oh
right
no,
now.
definitely. My first Strictly 2K was 700 in total, including complimentary as well as named people. It was 700, you know, and that one had Tony Matron, Liquid, and Nico, as well as myself on it. And then, you know, we said, okay, by the next stage, you know, we should grow some more. The next stage, and it grew. We got like a 1,000. And then by the third stage, you know, we're like, okay, this venue can't hold. You understand? So we had to change the venue. We've had bad moments as well where people try to come in and then there's just no space, you know, and they start to tear down the fence, starting doing all sorts of things, and we're like, yo. Yeah. So we moved it on to the bigger venue. Now we see good numbers, you know what I mean? We see over 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 people, you know. But it's been a long neglected genre. And we're brought to the forefront now, you know. I mean, when I look, and all of the artists are keeping their all 2000s, even the one that said they're 90s, they're all 2000s, you know. So I mean, we feel good about it.
Yeah. No, but it makes sense because for you, where you came in the business, for you to say you want to keep a 90s party, that wouldn't make sense. This is on brand for you to keep something at 2000. I really got my break 2003 on the radio and stuff. So why would I go back to 90s that I really don't have that type of attachment to? But anything 2000 up, I have the attachment to. So it makes
For sure. And I
total
could
sense.
play 90s music as well as the guys who lived it. You know what I mean? So yeah, of course, with no music, but it's a difference when you live it, just like what you're mentioning, because I'm a 2000s guy. I definitely live that era. For me, 2000s, 2010s that's my era. You know?
No, definitely, because I even seen the last one, because you said May 24th, the new staging is coming up, but the one before that, you gave out plaques to Kartel, Kiva. Who else did you give out plaques to?
I don't remember, but each station we try to give something to somebody from the 2000s. It's not, we don't always do it on stage. But you know, we would have done something behind the scenes, like we wanted to do a mural downtown, and we gave our plaques to some other people in the game, some of the dancers, some of those other things, some other people, but we didn't bring it to the stage where like, yo, we just respect you for your contribution. I would give them a plaque and give them tickets to come to the party. So this was done before, you know, but this time we said, you know what, let's bring it to the stage, let's make a news item out of it. Why do it and nobody knows?
Yeah.
So
No, it definitely made sense that way.
yeah.
You know what I mean? We spoke about some of your rhythms and stuff. How do you actually name your rhythms, though?
So no, I don't know. The names just normally come to me. I named Chris Martin's song "Paper Love It," by the way. And every time I see Sissy says to me, "Yo, Chrome, I'm not coming up with no name for any song that made it together. You have to come up with them because I don't know how you hear the man's song called it Paper Love It.
Yeah.
But when you listen to it, it makes sense. You know, he said nothing about paper loving, but it's really money. He's talking
what?
about the girl loving him for his money.
You're right. Now that you say it, you're 100% right, you know, because every time I heard the name, it always seemed a little weird to me because he doesn't say that in the song.
No, he doesn't say that in the song at all. So naming the rhythms now, I don't know. There's just always a name that comes to mind, a name that ring a bell, like or it has some form of buzz to it. So like Smokin, I had the 8 because I wanted 8 songs, you know, that I know. Triple Bounce has a sample in there that says bounce. Bounce. If you listen to it, it says bounce, you know, there's like a sampling there. Mad Collab, I think that's self-explanatory. I think it's just collaborations, you know. The Cardiac series now, as I mentioned before, it was love songs, so I put the Cardiac in there, you know, and then I just made the music side, so I did the instruments with that. So I think it's just more than like it's just a vibe, or if when I start to do something, if something comes to me, you just, you know, name them.
You just figure it out from there.
Yeah.
You have all these hit rhythms. What would you say has been your biggest flop when it came to rhythm? Where this rhythm just did not work out, whatever you did, whether a reggae or dancehall.
I have whole heap of flops. I have whole heap of flops. There's such a flop I can't remember them. But I grew up to know that you're not gonna win all the time. So you know what I mean? You just have to put out some stuff and see if it works, you know, and especially with dancehall, you have to watch the climate. You have to kind of see what's going on and where the music is to know what to drop. When you're a leader in the game, you drop it anytime and you probably can change the game. Because at the time when I dropped Mad Collab, the business wasn't there. The business was at a higher tempo. They were all at the over 115 BPMs. And I dropped a 100 BPM rhythm, you know, and you know, so I don't know. There's a lot of flop stuff, but I can't remember them, you know. I do think that they're good songs. I still think that they're good songs. I just felt like some of them it was just the wrong season for them.
Yeah. Wrong time, wrong promotion, wrong weather, wrong date came out there. That's the magic and the beauty of music. There's no real right or wrong answer. Yes, there's certain elements that you have to do 8 bars, 4 bars. We get all of that, but music is so magical that you think that this is the hit and it's not. And when you say, oh, child, just put it on, that becomes the monster hit that you never.
Right. That brings me to Music Without Rules. I did that an album in 2015. That album was Music Without Rules. I just wanted to do whatever I wanted to do. So that was a major milestone for me because that was the first ever a DJ was doing a full compilation album from Jamaica. So that was a major milestone for me. It didn't break the charts or anything like that, but I'm very happy about it because it was my work 100%, sure. And I put everything that I knew how to do at the time in it. So, yeah.
When did you start to get into the studio yourself? Now you collaborated with a lot of other producers, but when did you learn the MPC, the keyboard, or whatever it is? When did you decide to actually, or when did you really learn to do it?
I mean, let's be honest. It started because people were getting too busy for you. You were becoming a bother to people. You understand? So after a while, you became a bother to people. I'm like, yo, I need to never do this on my own because I don't want to be bothering anybody. You call somebody, they may be too busy for you, whatever it is. So I'm like, yo, let me just learn this thing on my own. It wasn't hard because I used to do remixes. I used to use Fruity Loops long time ago, do remixes and that kind of stuff. So it wasn't that hard. The music theory part was a little more challenging because I didn't know music theory like that. However, I have this ear that even though I don't know music theory, if it's out of key, I can tell you. Just I guess that I'll just say I learned that from all the music I've listened as well. I know when something is out from when it's not. So I started doing that and started building. I started doing this from like 2011 because I did the V6 rhythm, which is Popcaan. Them know me yet, bad, semi-tan, bad. I did that rhythm. That was 100% me. I did that, and of course, Dopino on that one. I did those things on my own. I did Contra Rhythm. The Contra Rhythm came out in 2011. I did that one on my own as well. There's quite a number of them that I did Wild Bubble with Idona Juxo. Wild Bubble was one of the first rhythms I did using samples only. This was just an experiment for me. It was one of those rhythms that I'm saying, hey, I'm trying to use only samples and build a rhythm. So everything is samples. Everything is a sample in the Wild Bubble rhythm. All this started because, of course, it was a little difficult to get everybody to work with you on your terms, on your time and whatever it is. So, in this time, I felt like it was just, the natural process of being a DJ. You say, okay, you want to play the music, then the next thing you want to do is produce the music. Then the next thing you want to do is actually make the music. You know what I mean? So that's how it started. So I started this from earlier, but I didn't have music theory, though. Yeah.
And I guess probably you went to school. How did you learn that? Were you?
No, I learned over. I'm still not great at music theory. So I do a lot of online courses or whatever it is to try and figure out music theory. But yeah, so I do have it down to a level now, but I'm still not an expert in playing an instrument. I can play what I want, but if you say to me, play this for you, the chances are that maybe I can. Yeah.
Yeah, I know that you could do what you need to do to get around, but if somebody else comes and asks, I can't do that, boss.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. No, I got that 100%. You're doing all of this great stuff here now. I want to know, there's a lot of you live through the internet coming of age and all this, and you wanted to be on radio. So in 2025, what's the real role of the radio versus the internet when it comes to music?
Oh, that's an interesting question. Radio can never go away, first of all. When the power goes away or anything like that, we still need the radio. Whenever a big hurricane, we still need the radio. However, the roles have changed and nothing is wrong with that. It's technology to change. Radio is still relevant if you ask me, because you still don't see anybody from the big world, the whole world, that's out there that doesn't want their songs on the radio. You name it, from the Cardi B's to everybody, they still want a song on the radio. Because for me, and it's just my interpretation, nobody come up with for what I'm saying, is pretty much is that the internet moves really fast. And for you to make a song that can stand the test of time, like some of these songs that we spoke about earlier, you do need a radio. You need that consistent play over extended period of time for people to cement this song as a hit, a long-term hit. A lot of these songs that we have now, they blow up really quick and them bust the place really, really, really quick. But as soon as them bust up, it's the same way them disappear. A lot of the songs that, were hot last year won't even play, 6 months after. And that's where the radio comes in. The radio gives you that consistency. You play on the radio with that consistency. It play first week, play second week, play third week. It will play it up to a year. Over time, people still love the songs. So I think for the radio gives you that long-term longevity in the business, and I feel like the internet is quick to get your attention. So I do think that radio is crucially important, and radio gives you a side that you can't get anywhere else. Like, for example, the interviews that are done on the radio, you have to know how to speak and how to censor what you say. You have to know how to create a radio hit as well to make, of course, we can sing anything and say the dirty stuff and it always work, because you appeal to a street market, or that kind of market. But to do something that's 100% clean and reaches the mass, it takes something. So the radio will help you to kind of curb you to be that kind of person, where you can make song for the entire families in just doing song for a niche market. So for me, the radio is super important to today's world. It's not the quickest way or the easiest way to get on the radio, but when you do, it normally makes sense in the long term.
You see, and I think that's what you said is what I've had in my mind, where radio would give you the long tail, where you'd hear this song forever on the radio, and it's more passive on a radio opposed to where Spotify, where you're more self-serve with a playlist and stuff like that. So radio isn't dead. Radio has switched its position to what it used to be to what it now is in 2025, opposed to what it was in 1995.
Yes, definitely. Because in 1995, it was the only way that you could get that mass of attention. Today, it's not. You have TikTok, you have YouTube, you have your own personal Instagram pages, you have so many different platforms. You understand? But to be on mainstream radio is still one of the biggest accomplishments you could ever get as an artist.
But it's just like being on TV. We have YouTube. We see everybody on Instagram, all this stuff. But there's something about being on TV. I don't know, because we grew up with it. We grew up with radio, where to see yourself there, you feel like, okay, I've done something. Something has happened in my career.
For sure. 100%.
No, definitely. I like how you explained it, because how you explained it is how I had it in my head. But I wanted to see how you would see it as somebody that you live in two worlds, where you live in the radio world. That's your daytime job. But you're a producer, so you see analytics from Spotify, TikTok, Instagram. Sure. So you can look at both and you have a good sight, and you can make good decisions by looking at radio and looking at analytics at the same time.
Yeah, 100%.
No, definitely here. All right, you've told me how crazy Kartel is when it comes to recording songs and all that. Who else have you worked with in the radio where you could say, this person they have a very unique way of recording music? Because you worked with the who's of who's in the dancehall and reggae business. Yeah,
I mean, listen, everybody is great in their own way. I'm not always there when all of them are recorded, but and there's things you have to know about yourself. I'm not one who is great with live recorded. When I'm sitting in the studio in front of you and you're recording, I can't tell you everything that's wrong or if that line is the best line at the time. What I am is the post guy. So after you finish recording, I listen back to it. One listen, I can tell you everything that's wrong. But while it's happening, I'm not the best guy. So I prefer not to record people.
Okay.
I prefer not to be there when they're recording. So I prefer to have a recording engineer record them, and as soon as the song is over, it's okay if they're still at the studio. I prefer if they're still at the studio. And then I listen to it and I can tell you everything that's wrong and everything that needs to change. I can listen to it as a whole, not in pieces.
Got you. Because you know what? You're right. Because putting things together and having things as a whole are two completely different things, boss.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
You stopping and punching in 50 times and then, okay, yeah, cool. But give me whole, and I'll tell you, take out this, add this, take out that. And it makes more sense in your brain.
Yeah, definitely. So I know I'm that person, so I don't try to do much changes or criticisms or put too much of my input in while recording. I allow them to do what they're doing, and then I'll ask for the changes after.
Yeah, definitely. I want to talk about some of your accolades here because, again, as I said, you've done many crazy things. I know in 2019 you would produce a song with Alkaline called "With the King," all right, and it was featured in Grand Theft Auto. How did that happen? Now, because remember, Grand Theft Auto is another level altogether,
Yeah, I mean, yo, if you ask me, I don't know. They just call me and be like, yo, are you the producer for this song? And I'm like, yeah. They're like, yo, we want to feature this in Grand Theft Auto. Like, can you clear it for us or whatever it is? I was like, sure, let's go. And it just happened. He had called before and he made some requests for some other songs prior a couple of years before. So there was somebody who I was familiar with. So it wasn't straight.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that's all. I mean, it's pretty simple. It's just, it's so fun. These people just hear these songs and love them for whatever reason. Or, they just reach out to the right persons and just make it happen.
Make it happen. All right. We're talking 2025 now. Clarks, this is where we're bringing back Clarks back into the fold here now. Clarks was featured in a Supreme commercial the other day where they were introducing the Transformers series that they're collaborating with.
Yeah.
How did that come around? Transformers, Supreme, Clarks. How did all of those worlds intersect into what?
Yo, I don't know, but I'm thankful. And all I can say is big songs are big songs. You know what I mean? They're looking for that dancehall song to reach people. You understand? And I guess, by them narrowing it down, they came down with Clarks as one of the best options. So they just reach out and be like, hey, we want this for this person for this reason, and I'm like, okay, sure. Clarks has been featured in so many different stuff. It's I lost count.
Yeah, I know it was in I seen it personally in So You Think You Can Dance Canada. I seen it in there.
Yeah, and it's in a lot of movies.
In movies too.
Yeah.
So then remember, a lot of people don't know when it comes to movies, that's something called sync license.
Yes.
Yeah, that's where the game, if you're in real music and you're into it, that's where the game really starts for you, those sync license spots. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So, I mean, it's in a lot of movies as well, more than one. Yeah, maybe it's not the big name films you'll see on the big screen, but he's not a Star Wars or one of those things. But it's yeah.
No, if you make it to a Simpsons, a Star Wars, or one of those, there next level for your crew.
Yeah, I mean, and you know what's funny though? Like a lot of people see these features in these movies, and the first thing they look at you and be like, "Yo, you're rich," but there's a thought for consideration because there's no standard to say you must do it this way, you must get this amount of money, you must do it that way. No, it's all about each contract stands on its own, and some people may see it in a movie and feel like you're rich, but really you didn't get not even $1 for it. Sometimes, especially our kind of music, sometimes you just do it because you want the relevance. Do it because, it makes it bigger in the long run. Do it because. So it's important that I said that.
Yeah. No, for sure. Because again, automatically you see that on TV. Okay, yo, I'm rich, boss.
Exactly.
But again, sometimes, as you said, it's for the look. But don't get it twisted, though. Sometimes you do get that bag, too. You understand?
Yeah,
but
sure,
there's many different things that could happen.
Yeah, like, a lot of people feel like if you get a number one song that you're rich, that's not necessarily the case.
You have to work
doesn't mean that you're rich.
Yeah. Number one introduces you to other things that if you're smart, you could do what you're doing with this song.
That's what it gives you the opportunity to be great. Yeah.
You bet 100%.
And that's what some of these syncs and so on does as well.
It gives you, as you said, the opportunity to push forward there.
For sure.
All right. 2024 was another life-changing moment for you. Kartel comes a road now. After 13 long years of you just working, putting in your work and everything like that. What was it like now the very first time you linked with Kartel after he was back on the road?
So I was at a party, right? I was playing at a party and Kartel walked in, right? And there was a whole bunch of guys, there as well. A good sized entourage, And I was DJing at the party and somebody said to me, "Yo, Kartel just walk in, Remember, I haven't seen Kartel in years." I said, "Yo, too much people over there, so I'm not go over there right now." You understand? And he said, "No, man, the Union Chrome, go and go link him." I said, "Yo, little later, if the crowd cool off." So that happened. About 30 minutes after now, the crowd kind of cooled down a little bit and he was taking some pictures with some people and doing something. That was being the typical jovial Kartel. And there's a lot of securities around him. So I walked up to the security, say, "Linking Kartel." And him looked at me like, and then one of the guys behind him said, "No, man, I'm good, let him through." Right? And I came through. So I walked up with the Kartel and I said, "Teacher, walk on." And he did this himself. He'll turn back in face and continue talking. Right?
Yeah.
And one of the guys, Rolex was beside him and Rolex touched him and said, "Teacher, I chrome that,
Yo.
He said, "Who? ZJ Chrome?" But it was, and then he greet me and hug me up and say, "Chrome, what go on?" Like whatever it is. So that was my first interaction with him coming out of prison. It was in the night and he had on his shades. Probably don't even remember what Chrome looked like anyway, So that was my first interaction with the Kartel.
Right there. So then how did that go from that first interaction for you now to actually becoming his tour DJ? Because that's a big leap where I'm just giving you a kind of a hail to me really embrace you to now let's go on tour together.
Yeah, when Kartel been keeping contact throughout the entire time, not every day, but we link when occasionally, you understand. We always keep a contact, and when this Freedom Street thing came about now, TJ reached out to me and be like, "Yo, bro, okay, I know you want to play on Freedom Street as well, but I want somebody who understands Kartel, the person, and have a deep connection with his catalog. You understand? For actually play for him." And he said, "You being a DJ on the streets that you go so much party, everything, you can lead us in the right direction for say where we need to go with it." You understand? So that's what it came about. TJ reached out to me and said, "Yo, let's do this." Kartel has always said that when him come out, there's certain people him not leave out. You understand? And my name and TJ name was definitely on that list. You know what I mean? So he's out now, and that's how it came about. So when he said that to me, I was like, "Bro, I don't even need to play." He said, "I don't even interested about playing. Let me just focus on doing what we need to do here, because it's gonna be tricky." You understand? There's so many songs, and then we started to visit the songs, and then we realized that, yo, this is actually not for human. Like, this is just too many songs to actually choose and still be comfortable. You know what I mean?
And we're talking hits, not just normal songs,
Definitely. I mean, we've thrown out hundreds of okay songs. You know what I mean? And have to be narrowing down the hits, and still trying to throw the hits. So that's how it came about. And then, I guess from you do a good job the first time, or, why change? You know what I mean? So that's it. And Kartel, we have mutual respect, of course. Kartel know how much I rate him as a DJ. And I just know I rate Kartel from a long time. You know what I mean? And I know how he operates as well, his actions and how he move and what him not like, and them kind of thing there as well. You know what I mean? So I guess it just flawless between all of us. You know what I mean? It did take some work as well for me to understand some of the rehearsals, to understand how he works. From that perspective, because I've never been behind the turntables when he's at the front. So it did take some work to kind of understand. Okay, when he does this, it mean that. When he does this, it mean that. Because there's signs along the way that people don't pick up as well.
Of course, it's just like basketball, baseball. They'll do things at the side where nobody knows, but you know what it is.
Yeah. So these are the signs he's been using for years and years. I didn't understand them as yet. So I just it took some time to learn them. Took some time to understand certain little things about him, the person. So yeah.
What was it like now DJing on that stage of Freedom Street, where it was like so grand, so big, everything's looking at you, everybody's seeing you, there's nowhere to quote unquote hide. It's just, here is everything that I've worked for in my life right now happening here. What was that like there, that being on that stage for Freedom Street?
If I tell you I was nervous, I'd be lying. I'm used to stages. Okay. So it's not very nerve-wracking for me. What I didn't want to do was make a mistake. I didn't want to do nothing that wasn't planned. All right. However, there's a video of me at Freedom Street. I was going like this, like whatever it is. When we just started out, I didn't have any monitors. So I don't know what had happened. But from the first time, I had no monitors. I had no monitors until like a couple of minutes into the show, like 10, 15 minutes into the show. That's when I got the monitors. But not to be cocky or anything, but that's why you hire a professional. You understand? So I was cussing that, I don't have any monitors. But I used my other skills from being an engineer, from being a DJ for the longest while, to manipulate what was going on without anybody noticing. If that camera didn't catch me, nobody would have known. You know what I mean? That something is off. People will say, yo, sorry, on the camera, you're doing this, like something is going wrong. But I'm like, yes, something's going wrong, but nobody can tell. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that happened, and it was cool. It was hard at some points because I couldn't see him where I was. I didn't have clear vision of him. So I had to be using more than anything else my ear. But, we did what we did. Of course, we jumped off track of what we rehearsed at some points, but we jumped back on track, at other points. A lot of the songs that we rehearsed, we didn't get to do based on the time and so on. So we had to be cutting through the list to try and get to some of the songs, before. And that happens at every show, if I'm being honest with you. Time always running also, we have to be jumping. But I mean, it was an amazing feeling to be on that stage, and it was an amazing feeling to be there and be the one behind, along with TJ, of course, with the song selections and knowing what to do at where. When some of the persons are coming on stage, we didn't know they were coming on stage. Some of them were surprises. We didn't know Bounty Killer was coming on. We didn't know certain things were coming on. So it's all surprises, but being, in the game for a while, well enough to deal with these things. So, just make it up now, make it look flawless, make it seem flawless.
Yeah. No, you gotta learn, this is show business, and you gotta do a lot of stuff on the fly. You have structure, but there's still a lot of wiggle room where you gotta figure it out as you go along. And once a team is gelled together, we all understand what's happening.
And that's all we need. We need structure. That's all we need. We just need the roots, and then we will figure everything else out. And as I mentioned, we don't have a panic team. So if somebody falls off stage, we're still cool. We know what to do. You understand?
Yeah. Because you did, so it's Freedom Street you guys did already. You guys did the Barbados, did Bahamas, then you did the Barclays. Barclays was this is now another grand stage where this is Barclays, bro. You understand? This isn't Amazura or one of these places. This is Barclays, bro. How did you prepare for something like that? And even with the special guests, were you the DJ for all the special guests both nights also? Or they had somebody else there that was helping you along the way as a DJ?
Yeah, I was a DJ for all the special guests apart from Skillibang. Skillibang brought his DJ. But yeah, again, a lot of these things are on the fly. We didn't know every single special guest that was coming on. You know, but we know how to work it. And then let me just be honest, like if you're working with someone like Kartel, there's not much that can go wrong in terms of, as long as he has a microphone, something is going to happen. So if you play a wrong song, he will either just tell us, say, yo, you played the wrong song, bro. You understand? Or if you mess up, he will just mention that, yo, you messed up, bro. But he will just continue. You know? He's not gonna stop the entire show and be like, yo, you messed up. Let's go back to start back over from track one. Nah. You know what I mean? So working with someone like him is still it's still easy to work with. So where the guests are concerned now, on the fly we're learning some of the guests, but sometimes we have a little idea that they might be coming. At the time, we're not sure because we're always in a time crunch. You know, by the time we plan this set of 100 songs and we have the time and we time them out and we do the rehearsal for it, but then by the time we reach song 50, we're like, yo, you have to turn off now. So, you know, so the timing of them coming in is always a little skewed, you know. So, yeah. But Barclays it was amazing, just the entire atmosphere of hearing that 360 crowd in an enclosed space was crazy.
Yeah.
You understand? Looking from Kartel's view and seeing all the lights, you know, it's out of this world.
I would think that's almost, I wouldn't say nerve-wracking, but it's would be almost overwhelming, especially the lights part there. When you see so many lights just coming you at once, it's like, how do I catch my breath from this, boss?
Yo, if you see any video of me, I'm always smiling, I'm always loving it because I'm also a fan, so I'm also excited. You know what I mean? So I'm also excited about everything that's going on. I'm happy to be a part of this as well. You know what I mean? My main thing with all of this is do not mess up. Do not mess up. Do what's rehearsed. Do not mess up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's my main focus most of the times. Yeah, and then of course, as I mentioned, all the little things that come now to treat them properly on the fly. The question is always, okay, where do we pick up back from here? When we jump off track, where do we pick up back? You know what I mean? So it's but it's becoming. I mean, we've done quite a number of shows. You mentioned them. You left out Tartola though, and yeah, we did Tartola. Tartola was the first one. Post Freedom Street. Tartola was the first one. Yeah.
Why do I not remember? I remember Barbados, I remember Bahamas, clearly Barclays, Costa Rica that didn't have, but I don't remember why.
Tartola, yeah. Tartola was the first one.
Yeah. Okay.
First one.
Yeah. You know what? Yes, because Tartola is a Virgin Island also?
Yes, I think so, you know.
Yes. Now I remember Tartola, yes. To me, everything was great. Barclays, Freedom Street is crazy. But to me, the tightest show that I've seen that you guys done so far would have been Bahamas. It seemed like everything just happened to work. Kartel came up with that super confidence. You were firing around there. Everybody was just firing when it came to that Bahamas show, bro. That right there was freaking crazy.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, definitely. I mean, Bahamas was out of this world. I mean, there's a difference in the crowds as well. It's like, just like a party. Sometimes you get a crowd that is more laid back versus a crowd that is very fun. You know what I mean? Bahamas was one of those fun crowds. You know what I mean? They came to have a good time and they were going to have a good time. You understand? Kartel came out and Kartel delivered. You know what I mean? And pretty much all the shows, you know what I mean? Barclays was the same thing. They just wanted to see Kartel. You know, Kartel came out and him just doing thing. I mean, but yeah, I mean, everybody can have their own, you know, favorites. So that's cool.
What I like too is you like to implement technology in your set, as in I see you with the 360 camera that goes up and it brings the crowd around. I said, those are crazy, boss.
For sure. I mean, for the people who know me, they know I'm a gadget geek. You know, I've all those tech stuff. You know, I mean, if I could just release my drone inside Barclays, I would have. You know, but I couldn't. But so yeah, I'm definitely a tech guy. So I always try to have a different angle from what everybody else have. I have shots from the floor, like it's crazy.
Crazy, no. Especially working with somebody like Ricky Platinum, he's another techie too. When it comes to that, he likes the meta glasses and all that. I see you guys work very good together, also.
Yeah, Ricky's crazy, man. Like, I mean, I reached out to Ricky years ago, before I met him. Actually, I mean, I heard that Ricky was the guy, and I reached out to him to play on a Strictly 2K for me, and I was like, he gave me a price, and I was like, okay, Ricky, we reach back out to you, okay, at a different time, because I couldn't afford it at this time. You know what I mean? And but I didn't meet him at that time. You know what I mean? After that, now I met him, and then you just realize that this brother, cool as a human being, and as a DJ, he's out of this world. You understand? He's just calm and easy, calm and just deliver, and then just in bad sick. So yeah, I mean, I've seen him work at Barclays, and he was just easygoing. Like, it was no trouble for him. He wasn't nervous, nothing, just work.
Let's get the job done.
Yeah, that's Ricky.
Yeah. What's next for ZJ Chrome and even Chrome Records? What's next for you right now in 2025?
A lot. I mean, we're still releasing music. I don't release music as much as I did back then. You know what I mean? But we still have things to do. Of course, I have a new cartel coming up soon. So that should be out within a month or so. I'm going to do that. I'm working on an entire juggling, and of course, now in 2025, I can safely say that I love reggae. I have a lot of reggae stuff coming out as well. I feel like I've never stopped, but I just don't output as much. I mean, because I believe in quality over quantity. You know what I mean? I always believe in putting out my best work, whether you like it or not. It's still my best work. So that's what's coming up next for me, pretty much. And of course, we're touring with Cartel. We're going all over the place with Cartel, and I have shows all over as well. I have lots of shows in Jamaica as usual. I have shows in a lot of the other countries because the guys see it as an opportunity to book me as well. So when they see that I'm coming in the country, they're like, "Yo, bro, can you do a show? Can you do a show like different?" I'm like, "Yeah, you know what I mean, we can do shows as well." So
like they take you like the Friday night, the night before or something. You play in a club and everybody's good.
Yeah. Because I figure. I mean, the challenge with booking dancehall DJs is normally, the cost that comes with it. Think of airfare, hotel, and to pay them. I don't think they make enough money to do that all the time. So I guess it's an opportunity to be like, yo, can we just, So, yeah.
You're here, so let's work type of thing. You understand? Yeah. So then this is a question I asked you earlier. This was while you're earlier in your career, but now that you're firm in your career, you've done all this. How do you now balance being a radio personality, a producer, a touring DJ, and everything all in one, and even you as ZJ Chrome? How do you balance all of this now at this point?
Well, I mean, I don't think there's a fair balance. I mean, it's always biased at some point. There are times when I have to just focus on producing and I have to ignore the rest. And there are times when I have to just ignore producing and focus on touring. There are times when you just focus on whatever it is that is happening at that time. You know what I mean? So, I mean, that's how I balance. What I try to keep consistent is family time. You know what I mean? So, yeah, if I'm touring across the world, there's always the phone. We live in a world where we can simply just take up a phone and try and balance it and try to come back and don't miss the milestones. Like, don't miss the graduations, don't miss the birthdays, don't miss any family milestone. We're trying to be back for those. So that's what I focus on and try to balance as much. For the rest, it's just a season, man. Like, now I'm in producing season and I'm touring as well. So we'll tour, come back, do some producing, would still do the radio. I'm on the radio every week still, so maybe on the weekend I'm not here, maybe I'm touring, but I'm back by Monday, Tuesday. I'm going on the radio in the next hour, and then by on the weekend I'll be in Miami for the show. So it's that life.
It's the life of ZJ Chrome, you understand?
It is. It is.
No, it's been an interesting life up until this point, and I know you still have so much further to go. You understand?
For sure. I mean, there's a new direction that we're going with the music as well. I mean, I just dropped in this dancehall rhythm that I've been working on. So I'm going to drop this dancehall rhythm, and then there's a new direction for ZJ Crow. I don't want to talk too much about it, but there's a different direction that we're going, and it's a collaborative effort where we're doing it with other dancehall producers from here. So we're going into a new direction with it. So yeah.
All right. So where you didn't make the announcement, but you kind of gave us a sneak preview to what's about to come in with ZJ Chrome, basically.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So it's a whole new direction, something new that's completely different coming from Jamaica. Yeah, we're working on. You know, it's not. Yeah, it's just new and fresh. It's new, fresh, and fun. It's not no bashing or anything like that. It's just new, fresh, and fun.
You've been a professional DJ since no, not even professional. You got to the radio in 2003. Now it's 2025. The music has changed so many times over and over and over and over and over between that time there. How do you feel about the state of music right now?
Music is good. I mean, there's no complaints about music. I mean, people complain and say, "Oh, I mean, we need more this, or the trap guy's not doing that, or whatever it is." I mean, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. But if you ask me, the music is good. You have trap in every single genre. What's wrong with the trap guys doing their thing? No, like nothing's wrong with that. It's evolution. It's gonna change. You know what I mean? When it changes, you don't always like it. Some of the songs I don't like. You know what I mean? However, some of the songs I love. You know what I mean? So it's what it is. The state of the music to me is cool. Okay. Is there room for improvement or room for change? Of course, I have my own opinions. I do think that, hey, there should be a balance. I mean, I feel like, okay, we need some more reggae artists. I feel like we could have sing some more, you know, that kind of vibe. You know what I mean? Reggae is kind of, you know, lacking as it relates to artists. Oh, yes, we're getting the root side. Where's the lover side? Sure. That's just my opinion. There's dancehall, Kartel, bring back this whole dancehall thing. And I can strongly say Kartel. I mean, people have always said dancehall lock up in a jail, and you know, it almost like it's true. Like Kartel came out now and it's opening a lot of doors that maybe not directly for people, but people are looking at dancehall differently now and looking at it from a different perspective. And even he's opened the door for me again as a producer, you know what I mean, can release more dancehall music and it work. So I mean, he's opened a lot of doors because he's got the attention on him, and what he does is very widespread. So pretty much we have to give him his credit for that. You know what I mean? We have to give him his credit for that. So I feel like the music today is doing what it's doing. I've been to places and see where these trap music that a lot of us fight against work. It's something new for us. It's fine. If you want to do whatever you want to do, whether it's hip hop, jazz, pop, roots, whatever it is, just do it and do it to the best of your ability. I feel like it will reach its audience. Okay. Can we come together and make things better? Sure we can. But is it going to happen? I don't think so. Nobody wants to come together and do it. You know what I mean? Everybody wants to do their own thing because that's the world we live in.
Yeah. Because remember, when you came into the game wasn't like that. The game has definitely changed. So what was the biggest factor to make it change from where
and that's it. Now? So therefore we used to go to one studio and you can book up 3 artists at one studio. I mean, somebody would call me and say, yo, we're here Bunty Killer was playing Riddim. Can we get a piece of it? You understand? And before you know it, let's just say Beenie Man voice and let's just say Shabarang's voice. Let's just say that. You know, no, it's everybody have their own studio. They're in their little box. You reach out to them. They're not getting no vibe from nobody else. It's just if them feel it or not. So that is the difference of today. The difference of today is really that in terms of music used to be a fun and community thing. Everybody's looking at it now like it's a business and it's all strict thing. Like, hey, we have to be doing this. I get it. There's a business side to it, but you still can't leave out the fun element. You know what I mean? It makes it reach further. Nobody knew Kartel was gonna put Craft on the stage at Barclays, and when he did, the whole place rip up.
Yeah.
Better yet, nobody knew Kartel was gonna put Shensi on the stage. When she came up, the whole place lift up. It's just, I'm just saying that stuff like that only makes it better for us. You understand? The guys who do trap, you should come and record on an old time beat as well. What you call old time beat, you should record on it. You understand? Craft would kill Smokin, I'm sure. You understand?
But it's just
Not
the
to mention
same thing.
Valiant and Triple Bounce. That would be off the chain.
But that's exactly what it is. But even where, say you put like a Kartel on a trap, or you put Bounty on a trap beat, it's like, okay, let's swap universes and see what you do. See how it works.
For sure. I mean, but it's nowadays they're a lot harder to reach out to. So I mean, it's very difficult. I mean, I can tell you that as a seasoned producer, it's hard to reach out to any of these guys and say, hey, let's work together. Everybody's more on the, I'm working with my team and that's it. So you weren't there when I was coming up. We don't want to see you.
Got you.
You understand? So it's difficult to work with these guys nowadays. They just don't do it because it's for the music or it's for the culture, because I love it. They're doing it because these are the people who I know and I work with.
Yeah.
Can't beat them, whatever it is. It's just their way of operating, and that's fine with me.
It's just where we are in the business right now. As we know, it changes all the time. Probably next 2 years, everybody's linking back at one studio, and this is how we're working again.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
Chrome, this conversation has been an epic conversation. Again, from somebody that doesn't give too many interviews, but always has strong opinions and is willing to share the stories. This story definitely shone through like I knew it would definitely shine. Thank you for sitting down with me today, boss.
Anytime, bro. Anytime, bro.
I mean, definitely. Right now, the floor is yours 100%. If there's anybody you want to big up, anything else you want to say, the floor is yours. Leave some contact information on social media and all that good stuff before I get you out of here.
Oh, well, I mean, of course, with ZJ Chrome on all the platforms is very easy. I'm not really a TikTok guy, but hey, I'll post on it every now and then. Contact me on my Instagram. Just hit that contact button. You'll reach me. I answer emails, so send me an email. Make it make sense though, because if you send me one bad email, then that's it. I won't revisit it. You know what I mean? So It's good, man. Just always reach out and just keep listening. You know what I mean? Keep listening to ZJ Chrome. Keep listening to Muscle. You know the thing go.
Definitely. We're going to definitely be looking forward to you on the stage this weekend in Florida with your sunglasses on. You're one of the few DJs I see DJ with no headphones and sunglasses. I said, this guy's an alien. He's different.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to hear it in his ears, but he almost doesn't want to see it in his eyes because he has on sunglasses. But hey, what do I know, Chrome?
99% of the times they're the meta glasses. So hey, just give me a different perspective.
Okay, you know what? You see, you revealed the secret there. I get it now.
Yeah, for sure.
Big up yourself and thank you so much. Definitely we'll contact again for as we get down this journey even further. You understand?
All right, no problem, man.
Bob, let me give you an outro and get you out of here. Bob,
all right, cool.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is Muscle, and this has been another Two Line Music Cuts Entertainment Report podcast, and we are out. This podcast is brought to you by www.twolinedmusichut.com.